video, we will go over the two main workflows used in the consumables change control process. These are consumables change control workflow and proposed change review. The consumables change control workflow is the primary workflow you will use to update and release revisions. If you have questions about the scope of change control, please review the change control procedures in the QA manual. The proposed change review workflow is a collaboration-only workflow and may be used for electronic pre-collaboration, locally or globally, to discuss and review proposed changes prior to submission to the consumables change control workflow. Please note, if an incorrect workflow is submitted with your change request form, the configuration manager will reject the workflow and move it back to the change owner, and the change will need to be resubmitted. If you know the majority of the impact of your change and are confident it's ready for submission through the change control process, go ahead and submit your change using the consumables change control workflow. After you fill out the change request form, the change request will proceed along this workflow path. Initial review, where the configuration manager assigns participants and completes a quality review of the change request. Next, subject matter experts, assigned per change type and per procedure, review the proposed change and assess impact in collaboration phase. After collaboration is complete, the workflow advances to approval, where management, or a delegate determined by management, reviews the change and approves or rejects the changes written. No changes are allowed in or after approval phase. After approval is complete, pre-release tasks or activities needed prior to specification release and integration to downstream systems like JDE, StarLIMS, CAC, and MES are opened and completed. Upon completion of the tasks, the workflow advances to QA spec release, where QA does a final review of the specification prior to release, which means you can order and produce. After the specification is released, post-release tasks launch, and any activities needed to fully implement the change are completed. Once the final tasks are complete, the workflow advances to verify and close, where there is a quality review of the change record per procedure, and it is closed once verified as complete. The proposed change review workflow is noted on the screen in red, above the consumables change control workflow below in blue. The proposed change review workflow is much shorter, as it is only for assessment, with initial review and collaboration as the primary phases. Within the workflow, there is a usable approval phase, but since no specifications or tasks are released through this workflow, you do not use this phase. If all participants are in agreement, the change owner may do a save as of the change record and submit it to the consumables change control workflow for processing. If you are unsure what workflow you've received, there are a few ways to check. First, review the title of the workflow, found here at the top of the screen or next to Synopsis on the left under Overview. Each workflow uses an aligned naming standard. If it is the consumables change control workflow, it will only contain the naming standard. If it is a proposed change review workflow, the naming standard will be preceded by PCR. All naming standards are reviewed in other change control videos. You may also select your task or assignment from your inbox and review the Workflow and Sign Off tab. The Workflow tab loads a graph. Green is what already has taken place, normally to the left, yellow is what is open presently, and blue are tasks or activities to come. You can zoom out and zoom in with this graph to review specific sections. Please note these graphs also contain behind-the-scenes system tasks that are not normally visible to users. The Sign-Off tab may also be used to review a list of some of the information that is also found within the graph. You can also see comments from the other phases. However, because this is an example for testing and training, there are no comments present.